I'm hyped to bring you the exclusive look at the upcoming XERO wireless PlayStation 5 controller, the unofficial Sony PlayStation 5 controller. Now, for almost the same price as a DualSense controller, this comes with Hall effect joysticks, back paddles that are remappable, and tons of other features that will be coming out later on, which I'll go over in this video. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the end because there's a lot to cover. The reason why I call this the unofficial PlayStation 5 controller is because it's made by a third party, a company called Adaptative, a UK-based electronic manufacturer. Under its brand name Interact, it introduced the Game Shark. Some of you guys may remember it. It's a device popular in the 1990s and early 2000s that was used for gaming consoles like the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64. It allowed you to input cheat codes that modified the gaming's behavior, which allowed you to have different features, skipping levels, and having infinity lives. And the same people that brought you Game Shark now, under the Code Junkie brand, are using their expertise in reverse engineering and the ability to crack and decode gaming systems, carrying over that knowledge on their new modern project, the XERO controller for the PlayStation 5. Sony uses proprietary protocol communication between the PlayStation 5 and their DualSense controller. Typically, third parties can mimic without licensing. For example, I have these two great controllers, which I did reviews on my channel. You could check them out from FlyDigi, I believe this is from. And these are great controllers. They work great. They have Hall effects. They have all the bells and whistles. The thing is, they only work for PC, Nintendo, and Xbox. These controllers and many others like this third-party controllers are not compatible with PlayStation 5. However, licensed controllers like the SCUF, for example, they get access to Sony's software development kit, ensuring capability. The XERO, however, is marked as unlicensed, yet it offers full PS5 compatibility and works flawlessly. Most likely because Code Junkies are using their own board and microcontroller that translates input into a format that the PS5 accepts. Sony's PS5 firmware can theoretically block unlicensed devices, but I think if that happens, XERO will just push back with their own firmware to counter that. Now, I'm not an engineer and I don't fully understand how all of this stuff works, but I am happy that there's an alternative to the DualSense controller now. I've been reading a lot of my comments and people are angry at Sony and their DualSense controllers because they break easily, they are expensive, and they get stick drift, and then you have to buy a new one, blah, blah, blah. I'm just happy that now there's another alternative that you could look into. Now, enough of me rattling about all of this stuff. Let's get into the controller and check it out. So here's the XERO controller, and this is what it looks like. And it's very similar, I would say, to the DualSense, almost identical. Even the buttons here, you see their version of their triangle, XERO, X and square. You have your share option button, the touchpad. Now what's different is the back. On the regular DualSense, there's nothing there, but here you have your two clicky paddles. So let's do a quick weight on these. So the XERO is 253 grams and the DualSense is 285. Now this is the controller that I've been using. I have a brand new one here and we're actually going to go unbox this and see what you all get inside. Let's go ahead and do that. First, let me just show you guys the box here and see all the features that you're going to get. Hall effect, low latency wireless, audio connection, ultra fast USB-C, additional programmable back buttons, yes. You could charge and play it at the same time. Dual motors for immersive feedback. So there are, it does vibrate, but it's very basic vibrate. It's not haptic and it doesn't go with the game. It's just very basic vibration on this one. I think they were more inclined and to make this controller work with the PlayStation 5 and have all the functionality rather than vibration and stuff like that. And you will not have haptic feedback on the triggers with this controller. So that's just some minor differences. Built-in headphone support, yes. 6-axis motion detection. So yeah, so this one, it gets, I believe the battery is a little bit longer than the original one. And here on the box, as you can see, what I mentioned before, it says here, not approved or licensed by Sony. But it does say for the PS5. That's pretty cool. So let's see, everything that we're gonna get with this is very simple. There's no adapter or dongle you need here. You will just get your PS5 controller, like simple, same as this one. Like I said, I've used this one already. I played with it. This is a brand new one. And you're gonna get your USB charger. Okay, so let's plug it in real quick. Okay, so this controller is right out of the box as we saw it. We're just gonna plug it into our PlayStation 5. And it shows right there, it's detected. And we just turn it on and there we go. And it works just like that. Now, the thing about this is you're not gonna get, you know how you get a new controller, it says, oh, we need to update this controller. You're not gonna get that update feature because, you know, theoretically, it's not a licensed controller, so the PlayStation firmware does not pick up that this is a DualSense controller. It's pretty cool. So, so this is wired. So let's take it out from the wired, and here we go. And now we could just seamlessly play. You know, it's that simple. So something important I want to mention about this controller, that it's still in the beta stage. It's under development. You're just going to get your physical controller, which they've completely finished with. But they're still in the development of the firmware, updates, and an application. So they are creating an iOS and Android application for this controller. And this application will be a game changer. It will have a lot of different features. Currently, the Hall effects are unprocessed raw censored values. So they may experience poor circularity, and the intention is it will be fine-tuned with circularity, sensitivity, curve mapping, dead zones in the app when it's released. So again, once the application will be released, this controller will be a powerhouse because you will be able to update different types of presets for different games straight to the controller. You will be able to configure, calibrate the joysticks and the Hall effects, circularity, dead zones. So you also have these type of controllers like the Phantom, and you also have, for example, the aim controllers. Now these are actually PlayStation 5 controllers. So all the components is everything from the PlayStation 5. These companies just use the outer shelling to create their own controllers. That's why these are always compatible with the PlayStation 5. So they're not really third-party controllers. They're just accessory controllers that are using their own accessories building on top of the PlayStation 5. So this is what's so unique about this. So everything inside of this controller is from the third party, including the board and all the microchips and microcontrollers, etc. So the next part of the video is I'm going to hook it up to the gamepad tester. You guys could check this out, hardwaretester.com, and it's just going to show you the controller, and I'm going to show you how to map it and the functionalities of it. So this is a really important part of this controller. Now I'm just showing you guys this and connecting it to the computer. This is something that's not required, but first let me show you guys the circularity test. Now the circularity is not the best because, as I mentioned, they're using raw Hall effects, so they haven't been calibrated. That's why the app is coming out soon, and you'll be able to calibrate it, so this air would go from 16 and 18 to hopefully as close as 0 as possible. As you can see, it's coming out of the edges. As far as the centering, it's really good actually. It's not bad at all. It's pretty centered. You can see it's jiggering there, right there, but that's normal. So next you're gonna go here and you'll check all the buttons are functional. It's great. So let's talk about now the functionality and how to use the controller and map these buttons. I'm going to leave a description of the manual. So this is the wireless controller XERO wireless controller manual, and in the manual it goes into details on how to use this controller, all the different functionalities. So make sure you guys check it out. It's going to be linked in the description. So the first step is to get into the parent mode. You would hold the share and the option buttons at the same time. So you'll see this blinking. This means the different profiles you have. So 2 lights, second profile, third, fourth, and there's fifth. So there's 5 different profiles you could map to, which is pretty cool. Now, if I remember correctly, to map the buttons, you would push the share and the button you want to map at the same time. That's blue. So let's change square to triangle. I would push triangle. So you want to always stay in this preset when you even play in the game, because if you come out, then it's going to reset and go back to default. So now that I push square, square becomes triangle. See, that's pretty cool, right? So let's change to different presets. So now let's map the back buttons. So to map the back buttons, we're going to push the paddle and share at the same time until it turns blue. So I'm pushing this back paddle. Once it's blue, I want to map it here. So now I push it. So when I push this back paddle here, that button lights up. So let's do the other paddle. We're going to push share and the other paddle. It's blue. We're going to push this. So now these 2 buttons are mapped. You could also do multi-function macros. So if you want to, for example, in a first-person shooter game, if you want to zoom in, first you got to zoom in, ADS, and then fire. So if you want to ADS and fire at the same time with one paddle, you could also do that. You're going to push, so you're going to push share and both of these ADS and fire at the same time. I'm sorry, you got to do the paddle first. So let's do this paddle and share at the same time. It should turn blue, 2 buttons. So now when we push this paddle, your ADS and fire at the same time. So any buttons can be mapped except the touchpad. So you could also do L3, R3, same process. We'll do it to this paddle. We'll push it here. So we'll do L3. So there we go. When we push it, L3. So that's basically the main functionality of it. Again, if you want to get more details, you could just check out that manual that I linked. I'm going to jump in and play a few games with the controller. Now, when you're playing, make sure that these profile lights are on. So if you would go back to normal like this, I mean, the controller will still work, but it's going to be on default. So you see, I could still use these pads. The thing is, the back buttons and all the buttons that we mapped will not be working. So you want to go to the presets that you set up your buttons on, which was number 2. And now I could use my back paddles. Now, when speaking to the developers, they did mention that this controller will be on Amazon. They're in the process right now on setting that up. So as soon as I see this on the Amazon, I'm going to link it, but it's not out there right now. You will need to get this from the website, which I'm going to link. And right now it's listed at $60. So similar to what the DualSense is. The funny thing is, when I first got this controller about a month ago, it was listed at $44.99. So I think as this time goes by, they may increase the price on it because maybe it's closer to when the app will be released. So the controller will have a lot more features then. But right now it's at $60. It's going to be shipping from UK. So wherever you live, I'm not sure what the shipping cost will be, but that will also be something that you would have to pay. If you want to purchase this, I'm going to leave the official website in the description, so make sure you guys check it out. I don't get any kickbacks or commissions. I just think it's good to have competition for Sony. So again, that's all for me on this one. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll see you in the next one.